Hey, what's up, everyone? My teeth are aching. The temporaries they put in are aching, so I'm just gonna have to do the best I can to make this video. Alright, so there's just so much that I want to talk about. For example, I pointed out that the word on this first UFO footage released by pilots at the Pentagon has the word slave on it. SLAVE. And what are we? To the system. We are a slave to the system. Consistently kept down from the hidden knowledge. Kept away from the hidden knowledge by those in charge. By the governments in charge. But that's not all. That's not what I was going to talk about. I mean, another thing that we keep seeing right now in France and Germany, crop circles appeared. And some of the geometrical designs in these crop circles make up the number of pi, the 3.14 and so on. What do higher conscious beings, what would they speak in if something was not able to, for example, speak in a language, speak in your language? They've always stated that God is the ultimate mathematician. That's always been the statement. He's the ultimate mathematician, the ultimate designer, engineer. And when you think about the universal language is math, is mathematics. And, for example, when, like Avogadro's number, you're transforming the number of moles to the number of particles, and you are converting it. And when you're converting units of mass, I think you're converting it into grams. Use Avogadro's number, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd power, shortened. And long ago, like, these certain mathematical principles are constants. They're a constant. There's no changing them. There is no, like, the certain laws of physics and the certain principles that apply to the general makeup of this universe. The same principles apply into putting technology into existence. Computing technology. The zeros and ones. Now, the quantum computer works on it. See, there's bits of data. That's why we go by bits of data: kilobits, megabits, gigabits, and then terabits or terabytes. Kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes. And interestingly enough, when you're talking about data or data, the smaller something is, the more it can hold, the more data that it can hold. So really, there's no telling, even though how large our universe is, there's really no telling how small it is. Because the smaller something is, the more it can hold. If the universe is mathematics. Think about that. Now, the same laws and principles apply similarly to the world around you, to what what you're making something and coding. And for example, the Pythagoras, who first theorized the Pythagorean theorem, and he was trying to discover, and he was trying to figure out the curvature of the earth. He was also trying to figure out distance. And no matter what you do, the laws of math are always the same. There's no changing it. And you get the same answer using those same formulas. Pi equals r squared. Circumference equals pi r squared. And the Pythagorean theorem: a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is the hypotenuse, or the long area of the right triangle, and you solve for it by putting that together and solving for c. And Pythagoras, who proposed the Pythagorean theorem, when measuring out the distance, discovered exactly how far distances were by using that particular mathematical formula, and it never fails. These mathematical principles apply to everything in existence, and it's amazing. Math is like the universal language. Now, I admit I can't understand it all, but I mean, I think about it and it's fascinating. And then, then you solve for C, and the sum of any two sides of a right triangle are equal to the square root of the remaining sides. Two sides. The sum of any two sides of a right triangle are equal to the square root of the remaining sides. No matter what, that principle is the same. That formula. When you're doing quadratic equations, minus b plus or minus square root, b squared minus 4ac, divide that by 2a, you get the equation, you solve it out. It's always the same formula to solve the equations. Now, the quantum computing puts it on a whole other level. You have, bits of data. Going back to that, the bits of data. Then you have the qubit. Now, a qubit is when you can have two sets of zeros and ones at the same exact time. And you can solve... Actually, you can solve universally... You can solve an exponential or infinite amount of data at the same time, technically. Because it's going about all of the possible scenarios and equations and solving them at once. This quantum computing is like beyond anything we've ever done. It can really be technically too smart. But it's really crazy how we went from horse and buggy to all of this. Horse and buggy to all of this wireless technology. It's just something else, and it's too quick to be just coincidence, to say that we just did this on our own. Another thing is, like I was stating, the qubit, the quantum bit. There's almost limitless possibilities that apply there. And the singularity that they talk about, that's a scary thought as well, but it's interesting to keep up with. The amount of computing that can take place can solve 10,000 years of calculations in less than 2 minutes. This quantum computer can solve 10,000 years of data. It would take the world's smartest supercomputers working all at the same time 10,000 years to solve complex mathematical equations and data that these quantum computers solved in less than 2 minutes. But these different... there were some crosses that appeared that looked like, German crosses in these crop circles as well. Some said it represented their fallen soldiers over there. Some said that it represented spirits. And some were talking about the mathematical language of these different... The way the patterns and shapes move were made by energy. Others talk about these crafts being able to manipulate the energy around them, in front of them, behind them, and all around them, morph and warp the existence around them and become the universe around them. And what is a cult? A cult, the word, is actually something that's hidden. I learned about the word Anunnaki actually meaning, in the Native American Hopi tribe, it actually meant ant people. And I did not know that. I never knew that. If that's true, but that's what they stated. And the Native American Indian prophecies talk about the Hopi prophecies talked about these ant people that actually burrowed in these tunnels and helped them survive through some great flood. That's what the Hopis talked about. Kind of interesting. But there was also these prophecies about, what else was it? The Star Children thing. And I've matched so many of those symptoms. But I'll talk about that in another video. Yes, I'm still a believer of Jesus Christ. Always will be. But you've got this deep state of... Well, not deep state. That was the wrong term. You've got this... God is the ultimate mathematician. You've got all these mathematical, complex equations. The micro-quantum world that you cannot see. There's a whole series of infinite particles. And what is the atom? The atom is made up of 4 different quartz particles, known as quarks. These 4 different particles are made up of even smaller particles that make up those particles. And then these particles around you, the subatomic structure of your body, the molecular structure, the molecules that make up, the hydrogen and oxygen molecules that make up the droplet of water, the molecular structure of water. These things, none of it can happen by coincidence either. Because you have the earth forming, but then you've got the atmosphere, and they say that whatever these things can be superheated. There's this rock that came from, they discovered from long ago, inside the earth now, that looked like a landing gear. And it can withstand 22,000 degree temperatures. And they stated that whatever's surrounding this particular type of energy it cannot get burned. And whatever these things are whatever these crafts are, don't even put off a heat signature, no energy. Obviously, and if one type of being has that technology, another does. If the dark side does, the light side does, the side of God. And ultimately, good will prevail. I've watched a few videos of... Apparently there was New York City footage of UFOs, UFO sightings as part of this holy site, stunning artifacts of UFO. The alien beings who helped the ancient culture survive, like the Native Americans. Let's see, these crop circle messages, that's what I was looking at. A mysterious crop circle appeared in France just 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, or a month ago. A bizarre circle appeared in Germany. Actually, the other way around. France 4 weeks ago, Germany 2 weeks ago. Pentagon has off-world vehicles not made on this earth. You need to check out Brad Meltzer's Decoded, Proof of UFOs Revealed, Season 2, Episode 7. That's a good episode. As well as the Hopi legend predicting these beings' arrival. Check out the Wedge of Aoud. Some type of artifact was found next to dinosaur bones that looked like a landing gear for some sort of craft, just like we would have today. These triangle UFOs and all kinds of things. Definitely need to check that out. You need to check a lot of this stuff out. This is really cool. Just amazing what is and how complex existence is. How complex things are. People don't think about it. Alright, I will talk later. Peace, signing out. My links are below if you would like to show support. I think what I did for the teeth seemed to have helped it so far. These temporaries need to last at least a month or a month and a half, so I hope they do. But anyway, peace, signing out. I really hope that you got a little bit out of this video. I can't talk anymore. I'm getting very sleepy. My brain is just rambling. But anyway, signing out, everyone.